Whatever the occasion, effortless elegance is right this way. Because Hilton brings you new ways to stay courtesy of the Nomad London. And it doesn't stop at award-winning dining in a space draped in velvet and illuminated by vintage chandeliers. No, this day goes beyond with unparalleled personalized service and attentive hospitality. Oh, and did we mention the Nomad London can be booked using your Hilton Honors points at Hilton.com? Hilton, for the stay.
How many discounts does USAA Auto Insurance offer? Too many to say here. Multi-vehicle discount, safe driver discount, new vehicle discount, storage discount, legacy.
How many discounts will you stack up? Visit USAA.com/auto discounts. Restrictions apply.
After Zoomies at the dog park, it's time for Drive Up at Target. In goes a big bag of kibble and one squeaky chicken toy for the good boy. Drive Up that's ready when you are, only in the Target app. Just tap Target.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Hey, everybody, it's Dave here from Vikings First and Skull, and I've got the gang with me. We're going to be talking the NFC North. That's right. We're talking the division we all love, at least the 3 teams, and the one we pick on. So let's get this started. In the North, where the gridiron roars with the clash of the bold and the brash, comes a tale of 4 teams and their wars, where the turf meets the blood and the clash. On Who Will Be King, the saga's spun. Pay, June, Foster, Dave, they away, as the NFC North fierce race has begun to crown who'll reign by the end of the day. So gather ye fans to the call of the North, where the black and blue legends hold sway. On this show, we'll see who sallies forth to claim the kingly crown by the day. From Ragnow's farewell to the breakouts that loom, the tales and the telling so grand. Tune into Who Will Be King, where fates find their room in the heart of this wild football land. Let the battles begin. Hey guys, how you doing today?
Doing great.
Good. Good to hear that from you always, June. Now, let's introduce everybody from the viewers left, fresh from yet another business trip. We have Pay of the frustrated Chicago sports fans channel. Pay, how are you doing, buddy?
I couldn't be happier, Dave. Thanks for welcoming me on to this another week talking football, Bears, Lions, Packers, and Vikings. Cannot wait. Dave,
what?
We're only 94 days away from kickoff. Woo.
I can't wait. And we'll go 1-0 and defeat you on Monday night. But anyways, all right, June Foster, you're here representing Bleachers to Speakers, the Motown legends that you are. How are things in Detroit?
Oh, things are good, man. Can't complain.
Yeah, hot and steamy. The weather has broke. It's been in the 80s all week. I I think though something got me all sick earlier this week. I was out of commission on Monday, but I'm feeling better now. So
okay. Well, I'm here in the St. Louis area, and we just went through 3 tornado warnings, and we got storms rolling over. So if this bleeps off, it's probably because I lost power, but we'll find out. I'm downstairs in the basement, so I'm safe. It's just, if everything goes black, that's the end of the show today. Now, we're here to provide a comprehensive roundup of the NFC North, discussing the most recent news, players, performances, coaches' change, expectations for 2025. And we're going to focus on the historic significance of our black and blue division. And in that division, we had some relatively shocking news this week. And it comes from Detroit. Frank Ragnow, their stud for a center, retired. June, do you want to tell us about it?
Yeah, Frank was going through a bunch of injuries. Like, he was not 100% any time last year. Me and Foster had conversations and talked on part of our shows that the Lions need to go into this next season looking for replacing Ragnow or getting an understudy, because we knew that time was coming. Same with Taylor Lewan. That those two are the older Eldsmen of the line right now, and it might have been a shocker to a few people that's not around, but it's a lot of us around here that kind of understood it, and we've had these shockers before. Barry left on the day of fall camp, and he was perfectly healthy. Megatron just retired out the blue. So this kind of thing happens around here every now and then,
Yeah, but they did it for, I think, reasons of being tired of beat down by the absolute terribleness of the team over all those years, whereas Ragnow was the one that helped build this current version of the Lions into a competitor, right, Foster?
yeah, it's different, but he plays a more physical and grueling position. So yeah, his was more due to his physical ailments.
Physical beatdown. It was a physical beatdown.
Yeah.
So
mental.
Gotcha. Well, for those that don't know, he played 7 seasons in Detroit, started all 96 regular season games and 4 playoff games, was selected 4 times to the Pro Bowl, and was 3 times second team All-Pro, and was easily the best center in the division for most of that time period. And we tip our caps to him. Hope he enjoys his retirement. Pay, what do you think the Bears think of Ragnow retiring?
Well, I don't think the Bears themselves, the 53, well, what do you have, 75 guys at camp right now? I don't think they're concerned. I will hope they're not even paying attention to what's going on in Detroit right now, Ben Johnson included. However, speaking as the head of the Bears Nation, I will say that it just opens up the division a little bit more, right? I think the window, Frank Glasnow is an All-Pro. He was a beast in his time. Those type of guys aren't replaceable.
Oh my God.
Very, very rarely are they replaceable, right? So, you want to, give him his proper respects, and, his understudy is lights on him now. Let's see if he can fill those massive shoes that Glasnow is leaving alone in his locker.
Well, I did see that Ben Johnson said some nice things about him.
As you would expect, Ben coached him for a handful of years. So, there's got to be there's a mutual respect there. So you would expect that Ben has some nice things to say. And from what I understand, Ben's always on top of things communicative wise, right? We learned that this week, what he did when he drafted Colston Loveland first round. The first call he made was to the long time. Let me not say long time. The current tight end on the roster. He wanted to make sure he understood where his role was. So I expect nothing but Ben to be communicative.
Well, just a quick aside since you brought it up. Cole Kmet is that established tight end. Now, I heard today that he got his backside eaten out by Ben Johnson on one of the first OTAs.
Hey, whoa.
Absolutely chewed on. How's that?
That's better.
June. Now,
First the fingernail polish. That is.
I have no idea, but I guess Ben Johnson's trying to send a message some way, somehow. Does that sound about right there, Pay?
Yeah, like I said, Ben Johnson, he coached the offense for the Detroit Lions, the back-to-back division champs. What was it, 4 or 5 years? You don't get to be the best team in the division, and especially one of the best teams in the conference, without having a what's the term I want to use? Attention to detail, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that is the most thing. That's the highest thing that's coming out of camp for the Bears, out of the OTAs, out of this 4-day minicamp, 3-day minicamp session that the Bears got going on right now. Is Ben Johnson getting on guys, making mental mistakes, lining up in the wrong place, things of that nature. You expect people to have doing playbook install at this point of the offseason. You expect there to be mistakes, but Ben is not letting anyone rest on their laurels or let that stuff go unnoticed. There he is he's riding guys, pause, very hard, pause again.
Whoa.
At this point, and for us that follow the team, we appreciate it. No voyeur, but because we didn't get that from the previous with 2 previous coaching staffs. Gase, not Adam Gase, but I'm forgetting my guy that's in the offensive coordinator for Kansas City Chiefs. Forgetting his name. Excuse me on that. Matt Eberflus and the coach that preceded him. Those 2 guys let veterans and most importantly get away with too much. They gave them too many rest days. They coddled some guys when they needed to be ranked through the ringer a little bit, maybe even publicly at some points. But Ben isn't doing any of that. Ben is making sure he's holding your feet to the fire and you know where you messed up and where you need to get better. So you see that all the time in sports. You fire one coach, you go get the opposite. Ben looks to be a complete opposite of what we just had in Eberflus. Hopefully that shows up in the win column.
From players coach and Eberflus to totalitarian rough guy and Ben Johnson.
We love Mother Russia over here.
Okay. Now, speaking of which, I heard today on Score North, which is one of the biggest Vikings broadcast units, that Ben Johnson even has gotten on the offense because they can't get breaking the huddle right. Did you hear that?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I mean, that was one of the issues that...
Thank God we're losing our center, and that'll help you guys out. You break the huddle right, because Ragnow's gone.
Ready, set, clap, break. What do we do?
So Dave, one of the issues that the team had last year, and I will put this on Caleb Williams, and in fact, it is a broader issue with young quarterbacks. When you go in college, they do a lot of shotgun, a lot of spread. You don't do a lot of professional huddling, right? So that's something you need to learn. It sounds like a very basic concept for us, the layman, but to do it as a
because we learned it
professional.
playing Pee Wee football.
Well, yeah, that was back then, right?
Yeah.
Nowadays,
for me.
they don't do that. But kids used to ride bikes when I was growing up. You see any kids riding bikes nowadays? Well, it's a basic concept to us, but what's basic for us don't mean it's basic for everyone. So you see that a lot with young quarterbacks, and in Ben Johnson's offense.
Are you saying he doesn't know how to ride a bike?
Finding a new job is stressful. But with Indeed, it doesn't have to be. Just fill out your Indeed profile with your skills, experience, and desired salary. The more you fill out, the better your matches will be. And hearing from hiring managers will be 2 times more likely. Relax. That's your Indeed profile sending opportunities your way. Indeed, the world can work better.
Llegaron los nuevos McCrispy Strips, listos para aventurarse en la mezcla de mayo ketchup, la barbecue que quedó en el fondo de la cajita, hot fudge sundae y en la nueva creamy chili McCrispy Strip dip. Los nuevos McCrispy Strips, ahora en McDonald's. Para pa pa pa.
A supreme athlete like Caleb Williams is definitely can ride a bike. He could probably ride a bike and throw a 50-yard at the same time. I'm pretty sure he could.
If he can hike it, right?
I'll take you off the hook for now.
If he could break the huddle, he probably could.
Now, reactions out of Detroit. What was said, Foster, by the players and the coaches there?
As far as the Ragnow?
Mm-hmm.
Players. I don't know, June, have you seen anything as far as the players' reactions to Ragnow?
It was just praise. It was just praise from his standpoint, the things he's done here in Detroit. That's just pretty much. It was not anything of shock, or just people was just giving him his kudos to him and saluting him for what he's done in the past, his career here. So it was just good.
Now, I did see that because he retired when he did, and he's not the only player across the NFL that retired after that June 2nd or beyond. He actually freed up $9.25 million on the 2025 cap.
Yeah, he had 2 years remaining on his deal, and there was a certain amount that was guaranteed to him. So yeah, it puts us in a position to have some cap flexibility, and so yeah,
$9.25 million and $12 million next year. So,
and as far as reactions, it looks like a lot of people saying that he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. A lot of, and this is, I don't know if it's to that level, but the reactions seem to be gold jacket and the greatest, and just sad to see him go.
Exaggerated, but yeah. I can understand that for Detroit.
Love though, yeah, especially when they probably know better than anybody what he's gone through. Like you said, he played in every last game, so probably could have was better off taking a couple days, a couple games off here and there, and he be in a little bit better shape. But that just goes to show how serious he took his job, and the level of dedication that he really put into his job. I mean, when it's all said and done, the center is the first man to touch the ball before we do anything else. If that snap is not delivered, nothing else. Ben Johnson can only begin to, start once the snap is completed.
And that's after a successful huddle break.
Got to break the huddle.
Now, did he call pass blocking coverage, or does golf?
No idea.
Okay, because it depends on how the team runs it and who calls pass blocking coverage. So interesting. Well, who do you see replacing him?
So in the short term, Graham Glasgow has played a little bit of everything. So I think that he's equipped. I mean, he's not the best. He's kind of just somebody that that you can throw in there, and he's going to do a serviceable job. I think you're going to see I think during training camp, you're going to see a lot of different guys try it out. I think that they were kind of aware that the time was coming. So that's kind of why we've kind of stockpiled the amount of guards that we have, such as Frazier, Mahogany, Rutledge. But we also made a signing to a player who played center in college and has played center and guard in the NFL, Tristan Collins. So I think the writing was on the wall that that we were going to have to prepare for the imminent. So I don't think that I don't think that the organization is as taken back and thrown off as probably the fan base. I think he kind of, I would assume, hinted or gave us a heads up, which is why we made such a point to trade up and get Tate Rutledge and double up and go and get Frazier. So,
and I'm showing that Rutledge took the most snaps at center, at least last year, versus Glasgow.
Frazier. Oh yeah.
Oh. Well, Rutledge is a rookie. You talking about who you talking about?
Is he a rookie? Second round pick? Yeah.
Yeah. From this year, he got drafted. Yeah, the Georgia guy.
But he's, according to this, he's taken the most offseason reps at center so far.
Right now, yeah. And they said that it's not natural yet. I think Hank Fraley is our offensive lineman coach. He said it's not natural yet, but better to have that concern now than to be in July and be like, oh yeah, you're figuring out at that point.
Well, he was a guard, if I remember correctly, coming out, so he should be able to adapt. It's not that difficult. The only difference is you don't have a hand in the dirt. You've got both hands on the ball, or at least one hand on the ball. And the whole idea about playing center is you've got to be able to identify the defensive front seven and tell where the mic is and all that sort of stuff, and be able to, at least in your mind, command where blocking should go. Whether you call it or the quarterback does is a different story, but you should be able to do that. And then execute the snap properly and get it off and complete your blocks. So we'll see.
So I think either way, I think we'll have a initial person. If it's not Rutledge right away, I think that he can make that transition. And in the meantime, you got a couple of veterans that can hold it down on the short term.
Uh-huh. Did you see that remark from Oliver Carter? Says everything Ben Johnson's doing now with the Bears is the same reason why Detroit was in the top 5 in offense the last 3 seasons.
He said, keep laughing.
Laughing, fellas. Bear.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to keep laughing.
That's June giving him a hard time.
Yeah. We're still breaking the huddle.
Yeah. And, hey, now, the legendary Bud Grant was a disciplinarian when it came to how he wanted things done, very specifically in certain ways, and he insisted upon it. And unfortunately, we lost our captain, our mighty captain, as in Mr. Marshall. Jim Marshall passed away yesterday. And for those here for Vikings First and Skull, Darren and I this weekend on Sunday, Tool of Bloggers, will be discussing Jim Marshall and paying tribute to the man. He was a great, great player. And you want to talk about an Iron Man? When you talked that Ragnow played every snap, every game, Jim Marshall was the original Iron Man. 19 seasons and didn't miss a start at all as a defensive end. And just unbelievable. And he had some major injuries, especially off seasons, but didn't miss an end. So I believe in that toughness, and that's cool. But like I said, for those that are watching on Vikings First and Skol, for that, Darren and I will do a tribute segment on Sunday. And he means a lot. I grew up with the man, so it's going to be fun.
Rest in peace.
Mm-hmm. Now we're going to go to our first break of the day. For those that are watching, this is only going to take about 10 seconds. For those that are listening, you get to listen to our sponsors. What do our sponsors do? They gave us a few pennies here and there so Dave can drink whiskey. And we appreciate that. But they help pay for Fans First Sports Network, which we're all a part of. So please stand by.
The bear.
Well, that works. What the heck?
There it is.
All right, we're back. Speaking of the Bears, let's flip over to Chicago. OTAs obviously have been in progress. What are the updates coming out of Hallis Field and the OTAs this week? Their pay?
That's Hallis Hall, Dave.
Hall. Sorry.
Whoa.
Soldier Field, Hallis Hall. Both are. We'll get to
Different
Soldier
places.
Field. But anyways.
Two different.
So Bears have their mini camp going on this week. There are mostly full attendance in the building for the Bears. You've had some. There are, when I say mostly full attendance, not to say that there aren't some key players that's missing. Luther Burton, 2nd round draft pick, he's been hurt since the rookie mini camp. TJ Edwards, our best linebacker, he's out with an injury. Braxton Jones, left tackle, he's also out. Those are pretty much the high end players that aren't available to do anything active. Yeah, and when I say active, they're not in pass. This is still an unpadded part of the off season. So that's just, it's mostly just getting, like we spoke earlier, it's mostly just understanding processes and just the playbook and where you fit in all of this at. So those guys, and I'm pretty sure you want to talk about Braxton Jones in a minute, so I won't speak too much about him, but the mini camp for this part has been a lot of Ben yelling and a lot of and a lot of ups and downs, pretty much, especially with the eye to the offense. The defense has been, as you would expect, pretty consistent. They brought all their starters back from last season. Dennis Allen is doing what they're supposed to do over there. The offense has been pretty much up and down, Dave.
Okay, now I'm seeing that Ben Johnson is testing Williams and focusing on the left tackle competition between Amagaji and Trujillo.
Amagaji
and Trujillo. How is he focusing on a competition when the tackles can't do hardly squat?
Well, it's a competition for second string, Dave. Braxton Jones is he's expected to be opening day starter. Kyron Amagaji, he was the Bears. He was drafted in the 3rd round last year. When he was drafted, he was thought to be a project. He's I believe he went to Yale. So think all what you have about
Ivy League school.
Yeah, he's an Ivy League left tackle. So think all you have to think about that one. He only played once, and I believe you remember this game very well, Dave. He had one start last season, and it was against the Vikings. Did not look great at all. I said they should cut him. If you don't cut a 3rd round draft pick after one game, I get it. It was just more of a frustration of when you have a 10-game losing streak. However, he didn't have an offseason. He was hurt all last offseason. This is the offseason. He gets to prove something. If Braxton Jones doesn't he doesn't recover on schedule and he's supposed to be ready for camp. Well, he's supposed to be ready at some point during camp. If there's a delay in that at some point, then Kyra Amagaji is the number one guy up. Or will this year's draft pick, Trapalo, will he jump Amagaji in the depth chart? That's what you're looking for out of those two in this offseason part. Nothing's going to be decided right now. There was some speculation that the Bears could move former number 10 pick from right tackle. I'm blanking on his name right now too. So move him from right to left, but Ben shot that. Definitely jet lag and all the rest. There was a thought that they can do that. Ben Johnson shut that down. He said we don't want anybody going into the off part of the off season. You know, that time in which you're away from minicamp and then the training camp. You don't want anybody trying to focus on a new position at that point. You want everyone to know where they're going, where they're going to be when camp starts. I applaud that decision. So we know exactly where everybody's going to be on that line. Caleb knows who's going to be in front of him. Everybody knows who's going to be next to him. Perfect. There's the only thing that needs to be settled is who's going to be the number 2 guy on left tackle.
Gotcha. Well, it's important because you guys are putting together a almost completely brand new offensive line, it seems like, and they've got to develop chemistry. So you got to settle on guys real quick. Now, the big deal with the offensive line is they don't get to hit until training camp. And it's a shame. It slows development. But I understand the NFLPA wants it all nice and cushy, all that. Not like the olden days where they'd go, 3 a days, full pads and all that sort of stuff. But it does make it challenging, and it makes it challenging for us fans to determine who's winning offensive line battles.
Yeah, I can see that from that perspective, especially when you have to do content, Dave. You want to know who's got the upper hands, because that's an episode right there. Who's winning the battle on July 1st, right? But we do want to see these guys having a long and prosperous career. And if hits that you're not getting paid for, if you can stop those, if you can minimize those rather, I guess that's all the better, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, without a doubt. And that's why they do it. Oliver talks about OTAs and minicamps. It's all about technique. OTAs and minicamps, all about, this is the learning season. It's our players learning what they're supposed to be doing and not repeating mistakes. They can make mistakes. They just can't repeat mistakes. That's when coaches get a little bit irate. But it's not an evaluation period per se, generally, at least how the Minnesota Vikings use it. This is about here, we're getting you familiar with everything. We're getting you familiar with the offense, the defense, special teams, whatever it is. And we'll come back after that long break, which starts here in 2 weeks. And then we'll go at it. And then we'll ramp it up. And it'll be competition to stay who's going to actually win the spot. Now, Caleb showing promise from what I'm hearing in camp.
So when I said the offense has been reportedly up and down, there's been he's not outside of that description whatsoever. He's had some great passes, and the defense has got the best of them at some points. That you would see that at every minicamp from every offense. It's not to be unexpected, right? But Caleb, he's won over Ben Johnson. As you said, Ben Johnson's testing Caleb, and what he's doing is he's bursting into team meeting rooms and giving pop quizzes. What do you do in this situation? Where do you line up here? This on the third. Cole Kmet is one of those guys who've been failing those. So, but as Ben Johnson puts it, and I agree 1,000% what Ben Johnson says on this matter, great players want to be coached hard. So if this is a part of that, you want to make sure guys are ready at a drop of the hat. You want to make sure things are reactionary and not, you have to process things, things like that. That's just getting guys ready for day one. We got Monday Night Football. You got an eight man front looking at you. It's got to be reaction. It got to be like that, Dave. So that's what Ben's getting these guys ready for. He's been to the championship game once. He knows what type of pressure that winning brings. He knows what you need to do to get there. He's getting these guys He's getting these guys in order. These guys have been more talk than bite the last 2 years. So we got it. They're going to get their act together and put it on the field now.
Gotcha. Well, I'm breaking out in this episode. We're going to talk about second-year breakout candidates, and obviously Caleb Williams is one of them, but I want you to hold off on that. Think, who else on the Bears could be a second-year breakout candidate? And we'll get back to that topic. But first, I'm reading that there's more political BS and problems with the new stadium. This time, it's with the Arlington Heights location. What happened this week on that?
So the Bears were seeking legislative support in Springfield. That's the capital of Illinois, for those who aren't my less than familiar with maps friends. They were seeking support from Springfield for their proposed stadium in Arlington Heights. That is a municipality north of Chicago. But they did not achieve what they were looking for before the legislative session ended on Saturday, May 31st. What they were looking for, they was seeking a statewide bill that will allow private developers to negotiate tax certainty with local taxing bodies. That would be Arlington Heights, which would benefit them in their negotiation and getting those taxing districts. If you all haven't been following, what stopped the Bears in their efforts in Arlington Heights the first time was what type of taxes they had to pay to, stand up there in that part of the Illinois. So that's what they were looking for, support in Springfield at that point. While there was some support for that bill, it did exist, but you have to understand, in Illinois, there's 110, 120 members of the House and Senate, something like that. A majority of those members come from Chicago. A lot of these guys are not going to be voting for anything that's going to help the Bears get out of Chicago. Not going to happen. It's going to be that. I believe that's the political BS that you were looking for, Dave.
It is.
So it's going to be an interesting ride. Now, for those who think this is dire, the Bears' lease in Soldier Field is not up for another 9 years. So this is just playing a game. There has been, from the fans' perspective, there are some people thinking that Kevin Warren, he's got hired to do one thing, and he's not doing that one thing. But it's an interesting time in Illinois. The RTA, the third largest public transit system in the nation, is facing a $750 million deficit right now. That takes precedence over what the Bears want. So it's tricky right now.
Maybe tie in both together and see what happens. Who knows? Grease the right palms, and I'm sure something will get done.
True.
It is Illinois politics, so. But yes, I agree. All right. Now on to June's team, as he's been sitting there quietly, snickering occasionally, but what's the word out of Lions OTAs?
The word is JMO. J-Mo's doing some great things in OTAs. McNeil spoke and said he's on the path to recovery, and it's a great camp, and he was like, it's just nothing like a brotherhood in the culture here. I'm hearing quite a few good things coming out of camp, but for me, it's way far too early to believe in any of that stuff. You know, you can hear that good stuff here in June, and come fall camp, you find out who don't get along with each other, who hasn't had a good off season. You hear all that good stuff in the fall. So,
okay. Now, I do see that Jack Campbell and Amon-Ra are basically limited due to minor injuries, but I think every team has somebody recovering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's just precautionary stuff. I think if it was fall camp, they'll be playing, but
Mm-hmm. And if it's definitely regular season game week, it would be different. All right, now what's your impression so far over John Morton, not related to the Morton Salt Empire, and Kevin Shepard, your new OC and DC, respectively?
I think those are the only two questions, and the impression is that they're talking, they're saying the right things, they're being optimistic, and I think those are the biggest question marks going into the season: is how will they do? I mean, new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, you're going to have questions about it, but from a talking standpoint, they're saying all the right things, all the things we want to hear. They're saying it. So, and then the players are actually reflecting or are in agreements of what they're saying. They're in approval. There's a lot of good talk coming out of Detroit Lions facility about the new coordinators. A lot of excitement, especially with the defensive coordinator.
Cool. Now, Foster, I want you to think about your second-year players that are breakout candidates, and we'll get back to the topic, and we'll bring that up here in a little bit later. But I want you to think about who could be on the Detroit Lions that are going into their second year that could be actually break out and be good players, especially where you need them. But we'll get back to that. Now, somebody's got to cover the Green Bay Packers, so I guess I draw the short straw as usual. Forlorn, wrap your mind around this mixtape. If JJ is competent and speedy for plays, for a contract, and then the Rook can play 4 wide, baby, run it up. Yes. And he's talking about our wide receivers, and yes. But we'll get there, Forlorn. All right, the Packers, OTA updates.
Why?
Jordan Love completed 7 of 7 passes with no defensive pressure. Hey.
It's summer. Time to enjoy long days, lazy nights, and great food. Because Uber Eats has deals all summer long. So, when hunger strikes, don't sweat it. Delicious deals are just a tap away on Uber Eats. Enjoy all your favorite grocery items delivered straight to you. Get ice cream, soda, and snacks from your favorite stores like Wegmans and CVS and make the most of every moment. Now that sounds like a good summer. Order now on Uber Eats. Terms apply. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
This episode is brought to you by PetSmart. Stop by for Yappy Hour with your pet at PetSmart. Save $5 on walk-in grooming services like nail trims, ear cleaning, brushing, and more. No appointment needed every weekday from 2 to 6 p.m. And while you're there, Yappy Hour includes exclusive in-store deals, like 25% off pet toys. Visit services.petsmart.com/grooming to learn more.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Matt LaFleur is supposedly concentrating and focusing on creating new offensive strategies. Well, he is an offensive-based coach. I hope he can, but we'll see. New coaches DeMarcus Covington, defensive line, and Sean Mannion, QB coach, formerly backup QB for the Vikings. Sean Dugan linebackers are integrating with the Packers as we speak. Oliver asked you, June, are you nervous about the guy's offensive line? We'll get to that, Oliver. That's the final segment. Now, can Jordan Love build on 11-6 season? Question mark. Do you believe he can pay?
First of all, he didn't build the 11-6 season to begin with. So how do you build on top of something that someone else built? What is this? Like Legos or something? Get out of here. Do I think the Packers do I think they've gotten better this year as of the team last year? Absolutely not. I think they're the exact same team. Draft picks irrelevant to me at this point.
Well, speaking of which, they drafted Matthew Golden, the first round wide receiver. Do you think he's going to be a wide receiver 1, or do they just have a whole bunch of wide receiver 2s and 3s? Last year.
For their team, he's probably going to be the 1. None of the guys that they have holdovers, I don't think they're long for the team. None of them. Some Christian Watson and the rest of them, they can't stay healthy. The guy that led the team in receptions last year, he was pretty upset that they drafted Golden, to be honest. So he's been beating on the doors of Packers front office, like, what's my role with the team? So that when you draft a wide receiver number 1, I mean, that pretty much answers your question right there.
You expect them to
they think they need more help, and they don't think that you're the guy to lead them to the promised land that you can do, right? Now, do I think he'll be a number 1 a traditional number 1 as it relates to what we see? I mean, their quarterback's throwing the ball all over the place, so I don't think he's going to have that type of success to be a number 1 for us. He might, like I said, he could be a number 1 for them. But he won't be a number 1 as it relates to as we look every Sunday.
Now, the fans seem optimistic about Love and the young talent at wide receivers, but they always do. It's a genetic default, I think, that belongs to them. I agree with you. I don't think Love is all the things that he's billed as being, nor those wide receivers. But again, it's Green Bay, and we know the prodigious rate in which Wisconsin consumes alcohol. So to them, that may affect their thinking. Now, on to my favorite team, the Minnesota Vikings. OTA updates. J.J. McCarthy, all except for one day, is basically turning heads. Justin Jefferson is in the building and building chemistry, which is great. Kevin O'Connell is working his magic. Brian Flores is shaping the defense, which is absolutely freaking wonderful. And Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, since we last met, got his extension. Multi-year extension is probably synced up with Kevin O'Connell's. We do not know yet. Still have not seen any details that come out, but we will see. And since June 1st passed up, we gathered a couple, I think $2.5 million extra dollars on our salary cap space, thanks to the cutting of Garrett Bradbury. Yay! Now, the Vikings are basically through all their voluntary OTAs. They have their mandatory OTA next week, and we'll see what comes out of that. But it's not been a deal because there's been 100% attendance. Now, whether there's not been quite 100% participation because we've got a couple guys, 2-3 guys that are rehabbing as well, and one that's sort of, and I missed, and I need to throw an apology. We talked last week about contract extensions, and is it causing problems? We have one individual, Josh Metellus, our hybrid safety linebacker, do it all, play every position on the defense, including nose tackle. He's due for an extension, and he's been out there, but he hasn't been partaking in 7-on-7 type drills. So it's sort of a quasi sit-in thing. We will see. And T-Bass, you're going to want to join me and Darren on Sunday as we talk about Jim Marshall. And that is a great story, by the way. Now, that's the Vikings, and that's OTAs. A wrap up for this week. And it's time to insert another ad. So if you're watching, just hold on a second. If you're listening, listen to our great sponsors. And we're back. Now, I told everybody to think about second-year players that are due for a breakout performance. Pay, the obvious one for you, is a quarterback that can achieve 4,000 yards passing. Will that happen this season?
Yes. Next question.
Who else on the Bears falls into that second-year breakout candidate category?
If you recall, the Bears had 2 draft picks in the top 10 last season. That was Caleb at number 1 and Rome Odunze at number 9. I would love to say the guy we talked about earlier, Kyra Amagaji, would be the breakout guy, but that would mean a player that's probably better than him is too hurt to play, and that's not the narrative that I would like to have starting this for this Bears season. At least I don't want to put that juju in the air just yet. So the breakout player that I'm going to go with right now is the aforementioned Rome Odunze. Rome Odunze has been having a pretty good offseason to this point. Ben Johnson said he's extremely impressed with how he's in his preparation. He looks like a professional and his approach this offseason. And he's been making, great. Again, you're in shorts right now, but he's making great catches so far in minicamp. So that's my breakout for the Chicago Bears in 2025. My sophomore breakout, rather.
Well, he should step up considering Keenan Allen departed.
Who?
Yes. And isn't there to catch balls from the golden child. So
or drop them.
Or drop them. Yes, either way. Yes, true. Now, Foster, I asked you to think about who are second-year breakout candidates for Detroit, considering you guys actually might need them. Got a list?
Yeah, so we have Christian Mahogany. He's going to be taking over at left guard for Kevin Zeitler, who did a masterful job last year. We saw limited action from Mr. Mahogany, but especially now with the absence of the retirement of our center, it's going to be even more imperative that he is able to take over that role, because we'll have other guys that'll be filtered into that center position and the right guard. Might be a rookie over on the other side at guard. So, very important that he, shores up that part of it. Ennis Rakestraw, who missed pretty much all of last year with a bad hamstring, had a great training camp and had a pretty good preseason as well, but that hamstring was a lingering issue all year. He was the second cornerback taken in the first round last year. Or no, he was the second corner that we took back-to-back after Terrion Arnold, who was healthy and did get thrown to the fire immediately. And, certainly hope that he can take that experience and grow from it, because he saw the gauntlet last year, saw a lot of really good receivers. And we're definitely hoping that he can live up to the first round hype, because he did struggle. And but I think that there's still some optimism that he can round into a pretty good CB1 possibly, because we have a nice amount of 5'9" corners, and you want a nice, taller, more physical guy to kind of take over that role. But lastly,
I feel you on the short corners.
Yeah. I mean, and you can't call them. You can't count them out because they're short, but everybody likes the taller corners. But lastly, Mekhi Wingo, who me personally I thought was a nice steal of a draft in the 5th, 6th round last year, and he got some pretty good a pretty good amount of snaps early on in the season, but he went out with an injury pretty early on, and with Aleem McNeil, who was cleared for football activities yesterday, I believe. But I don't think they're going to rush him back. So it opens up an opportunity for him to get Mekhi Wingo to get some snaps on the interior and exterior, because we still got Zadarius Smith waiting in the wings. Maybe that Ragnow, with the retirement to Ragnow, that might be a blessing in disguise. We might have some extra monies to allot to our
for
edge rusher. But
yeah.
Yes. So we'll see.
Okay. Interesting. Let's see if you come up on a trade or a signing here in the next few weeks. Be interesting to see. Well, cool. Now for the teasers. Listed as second-year possible breakouts, Jordan Morgan, offensive line, starting at guard or tackle, Packers' second-year player. All right, we'll find out. Edgerrin Cooper, linebacker, Pro Bowl potential. He's one we need to keep an eye on. If he steps up, it's going to be a problem for the whole division. We have Marshawn Lloyd, running back, could complement Josh Jacobs if healthy, and Evan Williams, safety, potential to be part of the top safety duo. Yeah, with Xavier McKinney. We'll see. And I forgot to mention that who is a Jair Alexander situation is still in ongoing contract negotiation, and there's been nothing resolved on their end. Now for the Vikings' second-year contract, besides J.J. McCarthy, we have Dallas Turner, who looks to increase his snap count this year because of departures, and he will most likely get 600 to 700 snaps this year, and hopefully for 7, 8, maybe double-digit sacks. We'll see. He's being groomed for the Van Ginkel role, and Andrew Van Ginkel is more pass coverage, even though he's awesome at rushing the passer. So we'll see how that goes. There's Gabe Murphy, which I doubt. He's an edge rusher, undrafted. He could be a sneaky player to watch. Problem with Gabe Murphy is he's very, very good. He came out of USC, I think it was. Maybe UCLA. One of those California schools. But he's got pterodactyl or T-Rex arms, and which is not necessarily, he's not the perfect body build for an edge rusher, but we'll see. And that's it for the Vikings. But one last thing to wrap up. The NFC North, because Frank Ragnow retired this week, people have wondered where each offensive line ranks. And there was a poll done online, and it had the Chicago Bears as number 1, which I still question. Minnesota Vikings, number 2. Detroit dropping to number 3 because you guys have gone through some turnover. And Green Bay at 4, right where they belong. Pay, do you believe the Bears have the best offensive line, at least on paper?
Thinking about it, I would have to say Joe Tooney. I'm just with accolades. If I just think about it on an accolades perspective, I think Joe Tooney is the most decorated offensive lineman in the division right now.
Ryan Kelly, center for the Vikings, new center, is not bad. But Joe Tooney, I would give it best.
Ryan Kelly there. Yeah, Ryan Kelly, Joe Tooney. I know even without Glass, I know the Lions had 3 All-Pros last year on the line, or 3 Pro Bowlers and 2 All-Pros, something like that.
What was it, June? You got a memory like an elephant.
Well, we had Sewell.
Yeah.
Was Zeitler a Pro Bowler?
Zeitler was one of the. He's good. Was good.
I think
Glass.
He's gone.
I think Glass now and Sewell were the All Pros, and I know you had one more Pro Bowler on the line. It's easier to.
I don't think
Frank.
Glasgow.
No, Ragnow.
He didn't make it. Ragnow. I'm sorry. There's I think the Bears upgraded offensive line from an like I said, from an accolade perspective. It's probably on paper what they say it is, right? Right now it's June 4th. So I would agree with that, Dave.
Okay. Now, the Vikings improved as well. We changed out 3/5 of our line. And we got, like I said, Ryan Kelly at center. We brought in Will Freeze, who will only be starting his second year after that injury last year, but the beginning or that of last year, Will started out slow, but just came on just gangbusters, one of the best graded guards in the league before he broke his tibia. And then we have Donovan Jackson at left guard, who there's no doubt he's going to start. With everybody, all the linemen that the Vikings have drafted over the last decade, even if they're first rounders, they did not get named a starter until, 2-3 weeks into training camp at least. Now, Donovan Jackson, he's already there. He's in the position. He's starting. He will start. So it's interesting. And, of course, we have Christian Darrisaw on the left, who's one of the best, probably top 3 left tackles in the league when healthy. And it's going to be interesting to see when he fully recovers from his torn ACL, and Brian O'Neill on the right side, who's also a Pro Bowler. So it's going to be interesting. It's those top 2. And then Detroit's obviously learning, and some new players because of the losses, and Green Bay is fumbling around, which is unusual for Green Bay because they usually have a good tradition of building decent offensive lines. But we'll see. Hopefully they'll fail again this year and their offensive line will stink.
Are your business expenses playing hide and seek? With Uber for Business, the small spends that slip through the cracks, like rides and meals, go right where you need them. Because it integrates with leading expense platforms, you can say goodbye to surprise costs, missing dollars, or chasing receipts. Everything's track downable. Uber for Business. Make small steps that make a big impact. Learn more at uber.com/small steps.
Please, Odin. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of the show.
Did you say please, Odin?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I like that.
I'm a
Hail
Viking.
to the gods.
Yes. And so that brings us to the end of the show. Any last words there, Pay?
Let's continue to have a injury-free summer, guys. Injury-free, drama-free, because there's a lot of stuff going on in other divisions. But as a member of the best division in football, let's show them how it's done. Let's keep the main thing. Focused on getting to the show after Labor Day, ready to roll.
All right. What have you got going on at the frustrated Chicago Sports Fan Channel.
We have a minicamp wrap-up episode dropping later this week, as well as always the series recaps for the Chicago Cubs. A rebranded White Sox show will be coming around next week, and a off-season. What do the Bulls need to do this off-season to stop sucking? That episode will drop within the next 10 days. So we got a lot of stuff going on. The Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan Channel available anywhere you get your pods, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartMusic, and all the rest. Also available on YouTube. All episodes go to YouTube as well, audio and visual. Make sure you check those out.
Rebranded White Sox?
Yeah. As you know,
they're actually winning now? Is that the rebrand?
They are. No, the rebrand is it's kind of hard to keep even the most dedicated quote unquote Sox fan and creative, the most dedicated and creative of Sox fans. Kind of hard to talk about losses every week. So we're doing a talent shakeup over at the channel and rebranding that show to be a little bit more inclusive to all of baseball.
I'm trying to remember what we called it. Sox Pulley? What was it? Yeah, Sox Populi. Is the fans?
Is that like a quarter? Oh, okay, yeah. They White Sox show from Fans First Sports Network. I thought you were talking about a cordyceps or something at first.
No, that was one of my favorite logos to build. Just to let you know.
Right. No one watches Last of Us, I see. All right, no problem.
With that, Jude Foster, last words on Detroit.
Just make sure you subscribe to Bleachers and Speakers on YouTube. We got a lot of stuff going on. We're going to be talking a lot about NBA player profiles leading up to the NBA draft. Foster and Coach are our correspondents for Detroit Tigers baseball, so that'll be going on. The Tigers are doing pretty well. I think they're the first team in the major leagues to reach 40 wins. Just check us out. And you can also, anywhere you can listen to a podcast, you can find us there, Bleachers Speakers, FFSN. Make sure you're following. Make sure that notification bell is on. So when we drop content, you'll get a notification and download those episodes for us.
Got a question. When I took this screenshot, you were at 220 subscribers. Are you at 1,000 yet?
No.
Come on, Vikings folks. Listen to these fine gentlemen, whether it be talking Lions football, especially when we play them, or Tigers baseball, or the Pistons, especially when the Timberwolves whoop their butts. Please subscribe and get those numbers up. All right. And you notice I didn't mention the Twins beating the Tigers. So, as for the Green Bay Packers, where can we find them? Sorry, folks, we can't, because we're looking for a Green Bay representative to do podcasts on Fans First. We cover all 31 teams. The Packers are the only ones that have yet to have the fortitude or the cojones to come on and talk about their football team. If you know somebody that wants to talk Green Bay Packer football, let us know. We'll get them hooked up. And they can join this festivities and be the man in the middle, just like the team is.
No huevos.
Yes. And as for Vikings, you got Vikings First and Skull, and you're obviously watching on it. So you know where to find me. You know where to find Tyler, and he's got a show tonight. We're going to be talking about breakout players, not just second year, but breakout players. It's an interesting list he's compiled. And I know Monday's show was a bit irksome on some fans. He played devil's advocate, and I disagreed with him. So If you've missed that, go watch it. Other fans will fully agree. It's interesting, but that's why we have different opinions. But we all get along and we can talk. And this week on Two Old Bloggers, Darren and I on Sunday will be giving a tribute to the great Jim Marshall. And the fact that he's not in the Hall of Fame is an absolute travesty. And the voters that passed him up all those years should be ashamed. But hopefully that'll be rectified sooner than later. With that, what do they say in Chicago there, Pay?
We bear down, Dave.
The bear.
Hell yeah.
June,
Yeah.
I know you're thinking of those painted fingernails, but what do they say in Detroit? What is it? One pride?
Good line. Good toilet flush.
What was that, Foster? You said something. And of course, in Minnesota, we say, Skol Vikings! Well, thank everybody for joining us. Have a great week. Like, subscribe, and rate us on your favorite podcast aggregator. Thank you for listening to this NFC North group effort on the Fans First Sports Network. This has been a frustrated Chicago sports fans, Bleachers to Speakers, Vikings First and Skol, and of course, the Fans First Sports Network production. Thank you for listening.